he got Bo Jackson, Bo knows, so he was pretty pumped about that. I think he snuck his jersey shirt out. I don't think he gave that one back.
I'm going to be completely honest with you, I'm tired of being disrespected. So there was no question I was going to play this year.
We are now the Las Vegas Raiders.
Welcome back for another episode of Vegas Nation Blitz. I am your host, Cassie Soto. We are less than 3 weeks away from the Raiders season opener versus the Carolina Panthers, so it is crunch time. Here to bring us the latest team updates is Raiders beat writer for the Las Vegas Review-Journal, Vinny Bonsignore. Vinny, some unfortunate news coming from the Raiders this week as we are learning that Raiders wide receiver Tyrell Williams has suffered a torn labrum in his shoulder. What do we know about this injury? How serious is it? Could he miss week 1?
Well, not quite sure what the seriousness is of the injury. I don't think even the Raiders right now have a clear idea of just how serious it is and how severe it is. So they're going to, the plan is for him to rehab over the next 2 to 3 weeks. That should take him right to the opener against the Carolina Panthers on September 13th. Where he'll be physically at that point is anybody's guess. That's not a great injury for a wide receiver when you're talking about having to go up and get the ball, and contest for balls. That's a big part of the body that gets used in those type of situations. So we'll have to find out where he is come the season opener. But in the short term, a guy like Bryan Edwards, the rookie wide receiver from South Carolina, steps up. The Raiders have been really high so far on Nelson Aguilar. He's played well so far in training camp. So there's depth there. That's the good news. Is the question is, are they going to have to tap into it as early as the season opener if Tyrell can't play?
Well, let's talk roster moves now, Vinny, because the Raiders have been pretty busy on that front. Who are some big names that you can update us on?
Well, not many big names. I mean, Theo Riddick has a little bit of a track record. Kyle Emanuel, the linebacker that they signed, who was in retirement last year. But I think what's going on right now is, a lot of teams, the Raiders included, they didn't get a chance to see their players in live type of action throughout the offseason. So normally by this point, you would have had a vast background on your guys having gone through OTAs and mini camps and visually seeing them, not just in Zoom meetings or classrooms, but actually on the field. So it wasn't really until about 3-4 weeks ago that these guys kind of got into the building, and the player and the coaching staff and general manager was finally had a chance to eyeball their players. And then it wasn't until last week till they got on in pads on the field. So that assessment is ongoing, and because of not having an off season, they're still evaluating guys, and especially at the end of that roster. So you're going to see, I think, teams making some moves on the back end of their roster, and it's just kind of reflective of, hey, as they get ready for the Carolina Panthers and the season, there's still some assessment and evaluation going on the roster.
Well, final one for you here, Vinny. You have been at practice these last few weeks, so I just want to get your take here on who's someone that stood out to you, someone that's really caught your eye these last few weeks as you've seen them develop.
Yeah, I mean, I think the young cornerbacks, Damon Arnett has looked really good. Looks like he belongs. That's first and foremost. Bryan Edwards, we've talked about him a lot during training camp, and looks like he might get a chance earlier than expected. But I got to also say Derek Carr has just looked crisp, in charge, in command. He looks like a veteran that's going into his 7th year and is surrounded by good players now. And I think his play so far has reflected that.
Great. All right, Vinny. Well, thank you so much for the updates.
All right, take care, Cassie.
In other NFL news, the Raiders have signed defensive end Chris Smith. Smith spent the last 2 seasons with the Cleveland Browns. The Baltimore Ravens released safety Earl Thomas after a training camp altercation with teammate Chuck Clark, and the Miami Dolphins said they will let 13,000 fans attend the team's home opener on September 20th, though tailgating will not be allowed. Bringing us the latest from Raiders social media is Las Vegas Review-Journal sports journalist Leandre Fox. Leandre, the Raiders held their first practice inside of Allegiant Stadium on Friday, and it was a day filled with many firsts.
Yeah, Rico Gafford, he scored the first unofficial touchdown at Allegiant Stadium Friday. He can get into that rotation of wide receivers now. They're pretty deep there, but Tyrell Williams has that torn labrum. So he could get into that rotation. Only last year he had 2 catches for 66 yards and 1 touchdown. So he's looking to make more of an impact this year.
Well, the Raiders moved back to their Henderson facility earlier this week, Leandre, and they took the time to honor some of those Raiders greats. Can you tell us who sported what jersey?
Derek Carr was in a Ken Stabler jersey for the second time this month. We also saw Richie Incognito in a Gene Upshaw jersey. We saw Damon Arnett put a Lester Hayes jersey on. And we also saw Josh Jacobs rock that Bo Jackson 34.
Well, final one for you, Leandre. Is Raiders wide receiver Hunter Renfrow looking to go back to school and go to Clemson again?
Yeah, so the NCAA ruled that student athletes would be able to compete in any number of competitions this year and it not count against their eligibility, which prompted Hunter Renfrow to say, hey, Clemson, I'm coming back, which prompted AJ Cole to say, no, NCAA, please block this. And Rico Gafford, who scored that unofficial touchdown at Allegiant Stadium, told his alma mater, Wyoming, that he's coming back to play wide receiver. And we all know he played cornerback in college. So we could see a very dangerous Rico Gafford out there at Wyoming.
Well, hopefully those Raiders will stay with the Raider Nation, won't head back to their college stomping grounds. Leandre, thank you for the updates as always.
Thanks, Cassie.
Fans, we are going to take a quick break, but when we return, I will be joined by Raiders host and on-air personality, JT the Brick. You'll want to stick around for that interview. We'll be right back. Where do the Raiders rank in terms of their 2020 strength of schedule? First, 11th, 21st, or 31st?
All your listeners and followers, the best name of any podcast in the world is podcast.
It doesn't make good television if they walk in the door and be like, no.
Oh, who wouldn't want to meet Elvis Presley?
Whoa, I didn't order that. Did you just say that?
Tom Brady. And Tom Brady, he's a quarterback in the Boston area.
I'm not sure who you're talking about.
Welcome back to Vegas Nation Blitz. Cassie Soto here. If you are a longtime Raiders fan or have listened to any Raiders sports radio lately, the voice you're about to hear is probably going to be very familiar to you. Joining me this week is Raiders host and on-air personality, JT the Brick. JT, I appreciate you taking some time.
Thank you, Cassie. It's great to be here. I like what you do, and I'm thrilled to be on. Thank you.
Well, JT, let's go ahead and get to it. The fans obviously love hearing from you, and you've got some exciting news for them. Why don't you go ahead and tell us where fans will be able to listen to you starting August 3rd?
Yeah, we're launching Raiders Nation Radio, Raider Nation Radio on 9:20 a.m. here in Las Vegas. So it's a part of Lotus Broadcasting. We're partnering up with Comp, the iconic FM rock station that'll be carrying the games on game day and game night, Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, all those Sundays. And now the Raiders will finally have a pure dedicated radio station for the Raider Nation.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations to you and your new endeavors. But let's go ahead and get into it now, JT. First, let's time travel back to this time last year. We had the whole Antonio Brown complaining about his helmet and his feet were frozen. Would you have thought then that that wouldn't be the craziest thing to happen for NFL training camp?
It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. I've been with the team since 1998, and training camp for me is really special. It's an opportunity to see the team for the first time in the offseason as the offseason ends and get to meet free agents and rookies, undrafted free agents. And when Antonio came last year, everybody was excited because he was the best receiver in all of football, no doubt. And the Raiders gave him a tremendous opportunity. And then, unfortunately, he imploded.
And how would you compare this year now to that?
Of what's happened in this offseason has been incredible. The Raiders had such a busy offseason with free agency on the defensive side. And then the draft with Henry Ruggs III, bringing in all those offensive weapons, Arnett, a first-rounder. And you want to see these guys on the field with OTAs. You want to see them get in the work. But I can tell you the amount of work that this coaching staff has done with the players and the fact that they're moving in to a new facility in Henderson, which is state-of-the-art, I think gives the Raiders an advantage. But it's not Napa, and it's not what we're used to when everybody's adjusting.
How much of a learning curve do you think these rookies and rookies really around the league are going to face?
It's the biggest learning curve in the history of the NFL. There's never been a bigger learning curve because of the fact that the offseason has been wiped out and the players haven't been able to work with coaches and go to ATAs and get accustomed to their teammates the way you typically would. I know that John Gruden's doing everything possible to make that transition a little bit easier, but the unfortunate part is that the Raiders and these young players are going to be just a little bit of a step behind compared to rookies and players in years past. But remember, everybody's going through this. Every team is going through this. And I think if you look at how the Raiders roster is built, there are enough veteran leaders on this team and players that really have leadership qualities who are so young, who come in from such a professional work environment that I don't think they're going to miss a beat.
What position battles are you most excited to see, JT, now that training camp is a go?
Great question. I think the linebacker position and the secondary is critical because that's been the weakness of the Raiders. So they bring in Nick Kwiatkowski, who is a really good athletic linebacker. And they also have Corey Littleton, who can play all three downs, sideline to sideline. So we know that there's two starting linebackers coming in. And depending on what happens with some of the other players who are able to jump in, some of the younger players like Tanner Muse and young players who are hybrids that can play that linebacker position, that's what I want to see.
All right, JT. Well, thank you so much again for taking some time. We can't wait to hear you on that brand new Raiders radio station.
Thank you so much.
Once again, that was Raiders host and on-air personality JT the Brick. Stay with us. We will be right back.
Get ready for every Raiders game with us. Vegas Nation Game Day will give you everything you need to know about each week's matchup.
I'm excited.
Vegas Nation Game Day coming to you on Sunday, September 13th at 9 a.m. for the Raiders season opener versus the Panthers. The answer is C, 21st. The Raiders' opponents had a combined winning percentage of 49.6 last season, while the Patriots rank first with 53.7%.
Welcome back to the Vegas Nation Blitz. I'm your Vegas Nation podcast host, Heidi Fang, and I'm joined here with our Raiders and NFL writer, Adam Hill. Today, we're going to keep things going with the AFC West breakdown, and first we have to get into these Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders finished second in the AFC West, and Adam, what do you think that they really need to do this year to get over the hurdles that kept them from getting into the playoffs last year?
I think a finish in the red zone, that's the big thing. If you talk to any players, especially on the offense, that is one of the things they're talking about. Hey, the offense worked really well up until the 20-yard line, could not finish, settled for way too many field goals. And of course, the new offensive weapons that they have, Henry Ruggs, expands the field a little bit, both horizontally and vertically. I think they'll use him quite a bit. Lynn Bowden gives them another weapon that they could utilize down in the red zone. Brian Edwards, I think, is going to be a key as well. And Jason Witten, who, he comes in, he's an old man. You look at him, like, what can he still do? He can definitely provide them not only leadership, but also be that red zone target. So there's different weapons that they can utilize on offense to finish around the goal line, but certainly the defense needs to get better. So I think those would be the big things to look at. The defense in general, and I think the addition of some linebackers really, really helps there. And then the offense finishing off drives.
What place would you say is the main area on defense where the Raiders have improved, and how that is going to help them coming up here in 2020?
Well, the linebackers are definitely the key. Corey Littleton is just a do-everything type of linebacker, but in particular in pass coverage, where they have been atrocious against running backs and tight ends, their linebackers have struggled in coverage. Corey Littleton doesn't struggle in coverage. He's really, really good. And Nick Kwiatkowski adds like that toughness presence, that leader on the defense. That's a really, really good group of linebackers. It goes from a weakness to a strength on this team. So that is where they really are going to improve. And I think depth on the defensive line is going to help them really get after the quarterback more. But I think the depth is going to be a factor this year. The real thing we have to highlight and look at, the young corners. I think they're helped out by all those things, but there is so much pressure on Trayvon Mullen on one side, Damon Arnett on the other, if those are the starters, and whoever else rotates into that mix. Just being young guys learning how to play in the NFL, that is a huge, huge challenge. See if they're ready to accept that. The rest of the defense being better will help them, though.
All right, well, that'll do it for us here from Raiders headquarters in Henderson. For Adam Hill, I'm Heidi Fang. Now, everybody stay tuned right now as we take a look back at a moment in history and reflect on one of the greats here in the Raiders organization, Tom Flores. In mid-August 2020, the Pro Football Hall of Fame announced that former Raiders head coach and quarterback Tom Flores was among the list of finalists for the coveted Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. The son of Mexican field workers, Flores is considered to be a trailblazer for Latinos in the NFL. As part of the 1960 Oakland Raiders roster, he made history to become the first Latino to start a quarterback in the NFL. Flores was also the first Latino general manager and the first Latino head coach when he took over the post for the Raiders in 1979. As head coach of the Raiders, Flores led the team to 2 Super Bowl victories. He hit another milestone in getting the Raiders to their 1980 Super Bowl win when the team became the first wildcard team to ever win the Lombardi Trophy. In 1980, the Raiders held an 11-5 season record and defeated the Philadelphia Eagles 27-10 to win Super Bowl 15. Flores' second Super Bowl win came in the team's second season in LA. The Raiders defeated Washington 38-9 to claim their third Super Bowl victory as a franchise. Though Flores' run as a head coach with the Seattle Seahawks in the 1990s was not as fruitful, his Hall of Fame resume stems from his accomplishments with the Raiders, where he was a player for 7 seasons and later returned to be an assistant to John Madden in 1972. As head coach of the Raiders, he held a record of 83 wins and 53 losses. Flores is now 83 years old. Perhaps 2021 will be the year he will see himself inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. That'll do it for this moment in Raiders history. We'll be back next week.
All your listeners and followers, the best name of any podcast in the world is podcast.
It doesn't make good television if they walk in the door and be like, no clue.
Who wouldn't want to meet Elvis Presley?
Whoa, I didn't order that. Did you just say that?
Tom Brady. And Tom Brady, he's a quarterback in the Boston area.
I'm not sure who you're talking about.
As we wrap up this week's episode of Vegas Nation Blitz, I am pleased to be joined by Allegiant Stadium insider Mick Akers. Mick, it looks like Raiders season ticket holders have started to receive their special Raiders 2020 season boxes, and these things are pretty awesome. What can you tell us about it?
Yeah, so late last week, some of the season ticket holders started getting their packages in. They're kind of doing these little open videos. So it's, it starts off as just a plain black box with the Raiders emblem on the top, inaugural season, and then when you open it up, a replica of the Allegiant Stadium pops out, and then the Autumn Wind theme song of the Raiders starts playing, and it kind of gets your juices going, and then your season tickets will be found right in the middle of the Allegiant Stadium roof, and then when you pull that off, a replica of the field at Allegiant Stadium is underneath, and it comes with a special edition patch and such. So a lot of people were kind of getting these and posting them all over social media. A lot of people are excited about these things, kind of making the first year at Las Vegas and the Raiders and Allegiant Stadium a little bit more special.
Yeah, well, you mentioned it there. I mean, fans are excited to get these, but it looks like some fans online are ready to sell their box to the highest bidder.
Yeah, so, shortly after people started receiving them, kind of took a glance over at eBay and started seeing a few of them pop up, as early as Friday. So last time I checked, there was like over a dozen on there. The highest priced one right now is at $1,200. Didn't have any bids on it yet, but the highest bid I did see was like $801. So there are some, couple $100 bids, and they have like 5 or 6 days left on their auction. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some of these things, go over $1,000. And those season tickets, average from $650 to $3,500 for the year. So obviously, some people might recoup some money, make a little profit even. So these people are, looking to make a little quick buck on their, the special edition thing that's 65,000 seats. So not too many of them around the world.
Wow. Well, final one for you here, Mick. The Raiders recently announced a new founding partnership, and that is with Modelo. What can you tell us about that partnership there?
Yeah, so it has multiple angles on it. They have a 26,000 square foot club inside. The stadium looks over the 50-yard line. I'm going to have 3 branded bars, so obviously one of the premier spaces in the whole stadium. Then outside, of course, got leaked by their own signage outside the Modelo tailgate zone out where the field tray sits. When that's inside the stadium before Raiders games, that's going to be a big area for pregame activities, stages, tents, and all that. And then, the way, everyone can get a piece of this action is special edition 24-ounce Modelo can. That's going to be coming out in October. You can get a single can, and you're also coming out with the 3-pack that they already sell in, all the convenience stores with the Raiders' inaugural 2020 season on there. A lot of people were, pretty excited about that. After that came out, I ran a poll on Twitter, which one you like best, the Coors Light or the Modelo can. I think the Modelo can won by 56 to 44%. So it looks like, I'm not sure if that was based off taste preference, but some of the comments seemed like it was. But, at least from that poll, it seems like, a little bit more leaning towards the Modelo can at this point.
Mick bringing us the better beer info. These are the updates that we need. Thank you so much, as always.
You got it. Thanks, Cassie.
Thanks so much for joining us for another week of Vegas Nation Blitz. If you need more Raiders fast takes and smart coverage, follow us on any of your favorite social media platforms at Vegas Nation, and head on over to vegasnation.com for your latest stories, videos, articles, podcasts, everything you need to know about the Raiders at vegasnation.com. For our Vegas Nation team, I'm Cassie Soto. We'll see you next week.